In July 2016, a company that was once worth $125 billion sold itself for $4.8 billion. That is not a typo. That is not an exaggeration. That is Yahoo, the company that essentially invented the internet as we know it, selling its core business for roughly 4% of what it was worth at its peak. But here is what makes this story truly devastating. Yahoo had the chance to buy Google for $1 million. They said no. They had another chance to buy Google for $3 billion. They said no again. They could have bought Facebook for $1 billion. This is not the story of a company that got unlucky. This is the story of a company that was handed the future on a silver platter multiple times and chose to starve instead of eat. Picture the internet in 1994. There are no smartphones. There is no social media. There is no streaming. The World Wide Web is less than 5 years old, and most people have never seen it. If you want to get online, you have to listen to the screaming static of a dial-up modem connecting at speeds so slow that a single image might take 30 seconds to load. There is no guide, and 2 graduate students at Stanford University are about to change that. Jerry Yang is a Taiwanese immigrant who came to America at age 10 speaking no English. Within 3 years, he was in accelerated classes. Within a decade, he was at Stanford pursuing a PhD in electrical engineering. David Philo is the quieter half of the partnership, a Midwestern programmer who prefers code to conversation. They are not building a company. They are procrastinating on their dissertations. What started as a hobby, keeping track of interesting websites they found, has become an obsession. They call it Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web. It is exactly what it sounds like: a list, a directory, a human-curated catalogue of the internet organized by category. The smell of stale pizza fills their cramped Stanford trailer. Monitors glow in the darkness because they have covered the windows to reduce glare. Empty Mountain Dew cans form small towers on every available surface. They are not sleeping much. They are clicking through websites, evaluating them, categorizing them, building something without knowing what it will become. By early 1994, their directory is getting more traffic than their university can handle. Stanford politely suggests they find somewhere else to host their hobby. They rename it Yahoo. Some say it stands for Yet Another Hierarchical Officious Oracle. Jerry Yang claims they just liked the word because it means a rude, unsophisticated person. Whatever the origin, the name sticks. Their IPO raises $33 million. Their stock price nearly triples on the first day of trading. Jerry Yang and David Philo, the 2 procrastinating graduate students, are now multi-millionaires. Yahoo is not a technology company. It is a directory, a phone book for the internet. And phone books have a fundamental problem. They do not scale. Every website added to Yahoo has to be reviewed by a human, categorized by a human, approved by a human. As the internet explodes in size, this model will break. It is only a matter of time. Meanwhile, 2 other Stanford students are working on something different. Their names are Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They are teaching a computer to understand which pages matter most. Their insight is revolutionary. Instead of asking humans to rank websites, they ask the web itself. If a page has many other pages linking to it, that page is probably important. The more important the pages linking to it, the more important it becomes. They call this algorithm PageRank, partly as a pun on Larry's last name. They call their search engine Backrub because it analyzes backlinks. The name will not last, but the technology will reshape human civilization. The year is 1998. Larry and Sergey are not trying to build an empire. They are trying to finish their PhDs. This search engine thing has gotten out of hand. It is eating up too much server space, too much of their time, too much of their attention. They want to sell it and get back to academics. They set up a meeting with Yahoo. Imagine being in that room. The Yahoo offices are loud and cluttered, a reflection of their website. Purple and yellow dominate the decor. Cubicles are packed together. The energy is chaotic, ambitious, overconfident. This is a company at the center of the internet universe. Everyone wants to partner with them. Everyone wants to advertise with them. Everyone wants to be them. Legend says they arrived on rollerblades, though this detail may be apocryphal. What is certain is this: they do not look like executives, they look like what they are. Graduate students. Nerds. Two guys who would rather be coding than negotiating. Their pitch is simple. They have built something called PageRank. It is a better way to search the web. It returns results that are actually relevant. It could make Yahoo's search function dramatically better. And they are willing to sell the entire thing for $1 million. $1 million. In 1998, Yahoo is worth billions. They spend more than that on office furniture. $1 million to own the technology that will eventually power most of human knowledge retrieval. $1 million to prevent the creation of their eventual destroyer. The reasoning at the time seems logical. Yahoo does not want users to search. Yahoo wants users to stay. Their entire business model is built on something called stickiness. The longer you remain on Yahoo, the more banner ads you see. The more banner ads you see, the more money Yahoo makes. Search is the opposite of sticky. Search is designed to get you off the platform as fast as possible. Why would Yahoo pay for technology that cannibalizes their own revenue? This is the first myth we need to bust. People often portray Yahoo's decision as stupid. But in 1998, their logic was entirely defensible. Search engines did not make money. No one had figured out how to monetize them effectively. The advertising model that would eventually make Google the most profitable company on earth did not exist yet. Yahoo made a rational business decision based on the data available at the time. But here is what they could not see. The data was about to change. Everything was about to change. We will just build this thing ourselves. They scraped together funding from friends, family, and one particularly prescient investor named Andy Bechtolsheim, who writes them a check for $100,000 after a 10-minute pitch in a parking lot. The check is made out to Google Inc., a company that does not yet legally exist. They have to wait weeks to incorporate before they can cash it. The name Google is a misspelling of Google, the mathematical term for one followed by 100 zeros. It represents their ambition. They want to organize an almost infinite amount of information. They set up their first office in a garage in Menlo Park. The setup is sparse: a few desks, a lot of servers, a ping-pong table that doubles as a meeting room. The smell of Chinese takeout and server heat fills the space. While Larry and Sergey are building in obscurity, Yahoo is ascending to godhood. The dot-com bubble is inflating. Internet companies with no revenue and no path to profit are going public at insane valuations. And Yahoo, which actually has revenue, which actually has users, which actually has a product people use, becomes the king of kings. January 2000. Yahoo's stock hits $118.75 per share. Their market capitalization reaches approximately $125 billion. They are worth more than General Motors, more than Disney, more than most of the industrial giants that built the American economy over a century of hard work. Yahoo has existed for less than 6 years. The headquarters in Sunnyvale feels like a victory lap that never ends. There are parties, endless parties. Catered lunches that rival fine restaurants, swag everywhere. Purple and yellow cubicles stretch as far as the eye can see. People are getting rich on stock options. Assistants are becoming millionaires. Everyone believes the good times will last forever. But here is the kicker. Almost none of Yahoo's value is based on actual profits. It is based on potential, on the assumption that internet advertising will grow forever, on the belief that Yahoo will capture that growth because they are the homepage of the internet. They are the default. They are sticky. Why would anything change? The dot-com bubble bursts in March 2000. Over the next 2 years, the Nasdaq loses nearly 80% of its value. Companies that were worth billions become worthless. Pets.com, Webvan, Cosmo, names that were on the covers of magazines become punchlines. Thousands of companies fold. Hundreds of thousands of people lose their jobs. The internet economy, which seemed like a perpetual motion machine of wealth creation, grinds to a halt. Yahoo survives. This is important. They are not a dot-com casualty. They have real revenue, real users, real infrastructure. Their stock price crashes, yes, from that peak of $118 down to less than $10 by 2001. But they are still standing. They still have a chance to reinvent themselves. Enter Terry Semel. If you want to understand why Yahoo died, you need to understand Terry Semel. He is not a technologist. He is not an engineer. He is not a product visionary. Terry Semel comes from Hollywood. He spent 24 years at Warner Brothers, rising to co-CEO. He understands content. He understands media. He understands how to package entertainment and sell it to the masses. Yahoo's board hires him in 2001 to be the adult in the room. After the chaos of the dot-com crash, they want someone steady, someone who has run large organizations, someone who understands business fundamentals beyond hockey stick growth charts and burn rates. Semel looks at Yahoo and sees a media company. This is not a technology company, he declares. We are a media company. Those 7 words will echo through everything that follows. They will define every decision. They will blind Yahoo to opportunities that were right in front of them. Under Semel's leadership, Yahoo invests in content, news, sports, finance, entertainment. They want to create original programming. They want to be the television network of the internet. This is not entirely wrong. Content does drive traffic, but it misses the fundamental shift happening in how people use the web. Meanwhile, Google is getting better, much better. Remember that stark white homepage with the single colorful logo and one search box? In an era of cluttered portals and blinking banner ads and walls of text, Google looks almost broken. Where is the content? Where are the links? Where is everything? But this minimalism is intentional. Users want to find things, not browse directories. They want answers, not options. The blank page is a statement. We trust our algorithm. Just tell us what you want. The results speak for themselves. Google's search is simply better. You type in a query and you get the page you actually wanted, not a sponsored result, not a vaguely related category. The actual answer to your question. Word of mouth spreads. Techies start using Google exclusively. Then mainstream users follow. Google's search traffic grows by millions of users per month. Yahoo notices. They cannot help but notice. Their own search product is falling behind. Users are defecting. And in 2002, Terry Semel does something that seems smart at the time. He opens negotiations to buy Google. This is where the story gets painful. They have venture capital backing from Kleiner Perkins and Sequoia, 2 of the most prestigious firms in Silicon Valley. They are not desperate to sell. But for the right price, Larry and Sergey might consider it. Terry Semel offers $3 billion. Let that number sink in. $3 billion. Just 4 years earlier, Yahoo could have bought the same technology for $1 million. The price has gone up 3,000 times. And still, Semel thinks he is getting a bargain. Google's search is objectively superior. Acquiring them would give Yahoo the best product in the market. $3 billion seems reasonable. Larry Page and Sergey Brin counter. They want $5 billion. Semel balks. $5 billion, $7 billion, $10 billion, he tells his team. I do not know what they are really worth, and you do not either. This is a direct quote. This is the actual reasoning of the man running Yahoo. He cannot evaluate the technology. He does not understand the product deeply enough to assess its future value. He is making the biggest decision of his career based on gut feeling and Hollywood accounting. The negotiations stall over the $2 billion gap. Think about that. $2 billion. The difference between 3 and 5. That is the price of Yahoo's future. That is the cost of Semel's uncertainty. Google walks away. They do not need Yahoo's money. They are about to figure something out that will make the entire negotiation irrelevant. Here is what they don't teach you in business school. Google's search algorithm was revolutionary, but it was not their true innovation. Their true innovation was understanding how to make money from search. And the answer came from an unlikely source. There was a company called Overture. They had pioneered something called pay-per-click advertising. Instead of charging advertisers for impressions, for how many people saw an ad, you charged them for actions. Every time someone clicked on an ad, the advertiser paid. This seems obvious now. It was revolutionary then. It aligned incentives perfectly. Advertisers only paid for results. Platforms only made money when they delivered results. Everyone won. Google took this concept and refined it. They created AdWords. They perfected the auction system. They built the most sophisticated advertising platform the world had ever seen. And suddenly, search was not a money-losing utility. Search was a gold mine. Every query became an opportunity to display relevant ads. Every click became revenue. The more people searched, the more money Google made. By 2004, Google goes public. Their IPO values the company at $23 billion. Remember, Yahoo had the chance to buy them for $3 billion just 2 years earlier, for $5 billion if they had not walked away. That $23 billion will grow to $50 billion, then $100 billion, then $500 billion, then $1 trillion, then $2 trillion. Every dollar Yahoo saved by rejecting Google's ask becomes $100 lost. But Yahoo does not give up. They still have the second most visited website on the internet. They still have hundreds of millions of users. They still have opportunities. This is where we meet Mark Zuckerberg. It has exploded across college campuses, but has not yet opened to the general public. Mark Zuckerberg is 22 years old. He wears hoodies and sandals to meetings. He is awkward and quiet and clearly brilliant. He has built something that people love in a way that Yahoo's products have never inspired love. Terry Semel sees Facebook and recognizes what it is, the next big thing. The future of social interaction online. A way to capture young users who are aging out of Yahoo's demographic. He makes an offer, $1 billion for Facebook. Now, you might be thinking, this is a lot of money for a 2-year-old company with minimal revenue, and you would be right. In 2006, $1 billion for Facebook is a massive bet. But consider what Facebook would become. A $3 trillion company at its peak. $1 billion would have been the deal of the century. Zuckerberg is tempted, his board is interested, negotiations begin. And then Yahoo's stock drops. Not a crash, just a dip. Routine volatility. But Terry Semel sees it and gets nervous. He renegotiates. He lowers the offer from $1 billion to $850 million. Mark Zuckerberg walks out of the board meeting in 10 minutes. The deal is dead. Yahoo has fumbled another future. The $850 million offer was not actually about the money, it was about respect. Zuckerberg saw the last-minute price cut as a signal. If Yahoo was nickel and diming him before the deal closed, what would they do after they owned his company? Would they invest in Facebook or strip it for parts? Would they let him run it or bury it in corporate bureaucracy? There is a pattern emerging. Do you see it? Every time Yahoo has a chance to grab the future, they hesitate. They negotiate, they wait, they calculate. And by the time they decide to act, the future has already moved on without them. Google has taken over search. Facebook is dominating social. The portal model that made Yahoo rich is dying. Users do not want a homepage with everything. They want specialized tools that do one thing perfectly. The web is fragmenting, and Yahoo is stuck in the middle, good at many things, great at nothing. Steve Ballmer, CEO of Microsoft, sees an opportunity. Microsoft has their own search engine, Bing, but it is struggling against Google. Combining Bing with Yahoo would create a true alternative, a competitor with enough scale to challenge Google's monopoly. Ballmer makes a bid, $44.6 billion. This is not a bargain basement offer, this is a premium. It values Yahoo at roughly 62% above its current stock price. Employees would be protected by Microsoft's resources. Yahoo would survive inside a larger organization rather than dying alone. He watched it grow from a hobby in a Stanford trailer to a company worth over $100 billion. He saw his creation become the gateway to the internet for hundreds of millions of people. Yang cannot do it. He cannot hand his baby to Microsoft. He claims the offer undervalues the company. He fights the deal publicly. He delays and obstructs until Ballmer gives up and walks away. Carl Icahn, the legendary corporate raider, calls Yang's decision one of the worst in corporate history. Shareholders are furious. The board loses confidence. Within months, Jerry Yang is forced out as CEO. He got what he wanted. He kept Yahoo independent. But at what cost? If you have made it this far, you are about to see how a company bleeds to death. The years between 2008 and 2016 are a slow-motion tragedy. Yahoo cycles through CEOs like a restaurant changes tablecloths. Carol Bartz comes in with a reputation for tough talk. She tries to restructure. She fails. The board fires her over the phone. She responds by publicly calling them doofuses. Next comes Scott Thompson. He lasts 4 months before it is revealed. He lied about having a computer science degree on his resume. Then comes Ross Levinson as interim CEO. He never gets the permanent job. Finally, in 2012, the board makes what seems like a brilliant move. She is a genuine Silicon Valley star, one of Google's first 20 employees. The executive who shaped Google's iconic search page. The woman who defined the company's user experience for over a decade. If anyone understands what made Google great, it is Marissa Mayer. She arrives at Yahoo like a messiah. The stock jumps. Employees feel hopeful for the first time in years. The press coverage is rapturous. Finally, Yahoo has a leader who understands technology, who understands product, who understands what users actually want. Mayer's strategy is acquisition. If Yahoo cannot build the next big thing, they will buy it. She spends over $2 billion on dozens of companies. Tumblr for $1.1 billion. Sumley, Rockmelt, Flurry. Brightroll. Company after company, check after check, announcement after announcement. But here is the truth nobody wanted to admit. Buying companies is easy, integrating them is hard, making them profitable is harder. Making them relevant is nearly impossible when your core platform is bleeding users every single day. Tumblr is the perfect example. In 2013, when Yahoo bought it, Tumblr was a vibrant community. Millions of young users posting art, sharing memes, building fandoms. It was Instagram before Instagram truly dominated. It was TikTok before TikTok existed. Corporate policies clashed with community culture. Advertising initiatives alienated users. Decisions made in boardrooms by executives who had never used the platform destroyed what made it special. By 2019, 3 years after Yahoo sold to Verizon, Tumblr was sold again for less than $3 million. The $1.1 billion acquisition had lost over 99.7% of its value. The same pattern repeated with Flickr. Yahoo had bought Flickr in 2005 before Instagram existed. Flickr was the photo-sharing platform. Professional photographers loved it. Casual users loved it. The community was passionate and engaged. Then Yahoo absorbed it into their corporate structure. Updates slowed. Features stagnated. Mobile development lagged behind competitors. By the time Instagram launched in 2010, Flickr was already an afterthought. There is a lesson here about what kills innovation. It is not lack of technology. It is not lack of money. It is bureaucracy. It is the death by 1,000 committee meetings. It is the suffocation of speed under layers of approval processes. Yahoo bought the future multiple times and strangled it every time. The numbers tell the story more brutally than any narrative ever could. In 2000, Yahoo was worth $125 billion. In 2008, Microsoft offered $44.6 billion and was rejected. By 2016, the core business sold for $4.8 billion. That is a 96% decline from peak to sale. That is one of the greatest destructions of shareholder value in corporate history. But wait, the story gets even more absurd. When Verizon paid $4.8 billion for Yahoo's internet business, they were essentially buying the brand name and the email list. That is it. The actual technology, the actual product, the actual innovation? Worthless. Yahoo's real value, ironically, was not in Yahoo at all. It was in their investment stakes in Alibaba and Yahoo Japan. Those stakes, acquired years earlier through partnerships, were worth far more than the core business. The company that Jerry Yang built was worth less than nothing if you subtracted the investments they had made in other companies. Yahoo's best business decision was giving up on building things themselves and just buying equity in companies that actually knew how to innovate. Let me tell you about Mark Cuban, because his story is the perfect coda to Yahoo's tragedy. In 1999, Yahoo bought Cuban's company Broadcast.com for $5.7 billion in stock. Broadcast.com was essentially internet radio, streaming audio. The business model was shaky, but Yahoo, drunk on .com euphoria, paid billions for it. Mark Cuban took that Yahoo stock and sold it immediately. He hedged every share. He locked in his billions before the crash came. When the .com bubble burst and Yahoo's stock collapsed, Cuban was already a billionaire. He went on to buy the Dallas Mavericks, star on Shark Tank, and become one of the most recognizable entrepreneurs in America. Yahoo got a worthless company. Cuban got a fortune. Sometimes the smartest business decision is knowing when to cash out. Now, you might be thinking this is ancient history. Yahoo is gone. Google won. Why does any of this matter? Let me tell you why this story is more relevant today than ever before. Google is now facing the same existential threat they once posed to Yahoo. The threat has a name. It is called artificial intelligence. Think about Google's business model. Users search for information. Google shows ads alongside results. It is a perfect system, refined over 2 decades into a money-printing machine that generates hundreds of billions of dollars per year. Now think about ChatGPT. Users ask questions. AI provides answers. There is no search results page. There are no blue links to click. There are no ads alongside results. If AI can answer questions directly, why would anyone search at all? Google sees the threat. They are pouring billions into AI development. They are terrified because they know what happens when you dismiss a new technology. They watched it happen to Yahoo. The parallel is almost perfect. Yahoo was CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. Banner ads, display advertising. They needed users to stay on their page. Google was PPC, pay-per-click, search advertising. Intent-based targeting. They succeeded by getting users off the page as fast as possible. Now Google is search. AI is direct answers. The same dynamic is repeating with new technology. Here is the uncomfortable question. Is Google making the same mistakes Yahoo made? Are they too focused on protecting their existing revenue to embrace the future? Are committee meetings slowing down innovation? Are executives who grew up in the search era unable to see what comes next? Their attempts to add AI to search seem more like defense than innovation. The startup energy that built the company has been replaced by corporate caution. They have hundreds of billions of dollars. They have the smartest engineers on the planet. But do they have the vision to cannibalize their own success before someone else does? Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975. They buried it because they were afraid it would kill their film business. By the time they admitted digital was the future, it was too late. The film business died anyway, and Kodak died with it. Yahoo could have owned search. They buried Google's offer because they were afraid it would kill their portal business. By the time they admitted search was the future, it was too late. The portal business died anyway, and Yahoo died with it. What is Google burying right now? What technology are they suppressing because it threatens their search advertising business? What startup is in a garage somewhere, building the thing that will make Google as irrelevant as Yahoo became? Blockbuster refused to buy Netflix for $50 million because they could not imagine a world without late fees and physical stores. Netflix is now worth $200 billion. Blockbuster is a single franchise store in Bend, Oregon, operating mostly as a tourist attraction. Nokia dominated mobile phones until the iPhone appeared. They dismissed it as a niche product for rich people who wanted to watch movies on tiny screens. Within 5 years, they were selling their phone division to Microsoft. Within 10 years, no one remembered Nokia had ever made phones. The pattern is always the same. Success creates blind spots. What made you great becomes what makes you vulnerable. The assumptions that were true when you were winning become the chains that bind you when the world changes. So what is the lesson? What should you take away from Yahoo's $100 billion mistake? First, understand that intelligence is not protection. Yahoo was not run by stupid people. Terry Semel was a successful Hollywood executive. Jerry Yang was a Stanford-educated engineer. Marissa Mayer was one of the smartest product people in Silicon Valley. They were not dumb, they were blind, blinded by success, blinded by assumptions, blinded by the belief that what worked yesterday would work tomorrow. Second, recognize that the biggest risks are the ones you refuse to take. Yahoo's greatest failures were not the things they tried that did not work. They were the things they refused to try at all. They could have taken risks on Google, on Facebook, on Microsoft. They chose the safe path every time. The safe path led to destruction. Third, accept that protecting the past means abandoning the future. Yahoo could not buy Google because Google threatened their portal model. They could not embrace mobile because it threatened their desktop traffic. They could not truly innovate because every innovation threatened something they already had. When you spend all your energy protecting what you built, you have no energy left to build what comes next. Fourth, and this is the hard one, know when to let go. Jerry Yang could not sell to Microsoft because Yahoo was his baby. He loved it too much to see it objectively. That love cost shareholders billions of dollars. Sometimes the best thing you can do for something you built is let it become part of something larger. Survival matters more than sentiment. If you are building something right now, whether it is a company or a career or a creative project, you are living this story in real time. The choices you make about what to embrace and what to protect will determine whether you are the next Google or the next Yahoo. The internet changes faster than any industry in history. What seems stable today can be obsolete tomorrow. The skills that made you valuable last year can be worthless next year. The assumptions you are making about how the world works might already be wrong. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up. The world rewards the people who see change coming and move toward it, not away from it. It punishes the people who cling to the familiar because the familiar feels safe. Yahoo's story started with 2 graduate students building something useful in a cramped trailer that smelled like pizza and Mountain Dew. It ended with a 96% loss in value and a fire sale to a telecom company that did not really want them. In between, there were at least 4 moments where different choices would have changed everything. The what-ifs are staggering. What if Yahoo had bought Google for $1 million? There would be no Chrome, no Android, no YouTube, no Google Maps, no Gmail. The entire architecture of the modern internet would be different. Yahoo would probably still be the homepage of the web. The Silicon Valley we know would not exist. What if they had paid $5 billion in 2002? Same outcome. Google's technology would have powered Yahoo Search. The advertising revolution would have happened under Yahoo's banner. The hundreds of billions that flowed to Google would have flowed to Sunnyvale instead. What if they had bought Facebook? Social networking would have become a Yahoo product. The social graph that Facebook built would belong to Yahoo. Instagram would never have been acquired by a competitor. WhatsApp might have gone to Yahoo instead of Facebook. The entire social media landscape would be unrecognizable. What if they had accepted Microsoft's offer? Yahoo would still exist as a division of Microsoft. The technology would still be developed. The employees would still have jobs. Shareholders would have received $44 billion instead of $4.8 billion. Everyone would have been better off except Jerry Yang's ego. These what-ifs are not just exercises in alternate history. They are reminders that decisions matter, that the choices leaders make in conference rooms ripple outward into the lives of millions, that saying no can be as consequential as saying yes. The people who worked at Yahoo, who believed in the mission, who took stock options instead of higher salaries, who stayed late and worked weekends and poured their lives into something they thought would last forever, they deserved better. They deserved leaders who could see clearly. They deserved decisions made on evidence, not ego. They deserved a chance to be part of the future instead of casualties of the past. As I finish telling this story, Yahoo's purple logo has faded from public consciousness. When people think of the internet, they think of Google, they think of Facebook, they think of Amazon and Netflix and Apple. Yahoo is a trivia question, a punchline, a cautionary tale. But somewhere, right now, there is a company making the same mistakes. There are executives convincing themselves that their current success is permanent. There are opportunities being declined because they threaten the status quo. There are founders holding on too tight when they should be letting go. The question is not whether it will happen again. The question is who it will happen to, and whether they will learn from Yahoo's century-defining mistake before it is too late. The next time you see a dominant company dismiss a new technology as a fad, remember Yahoo. The next time you hear an executive say they are not worried about a small competitor, remember Yahoo. The next time you catch yourself protecting what you have, instead of reaching for what could be, remember Yahoo. The future belongs to those who build it, not those who fear it. The future belongs to those who embrace change, not those who hide from it. The future belongs to those who are willing to risk everything they have for everything they could become. Yahoo could have been that future. They chose to be the past. Do not make the same choice. Now I want to hear from you. Who is the next giant about to fall because they are protecting their past instead of building their future? Drop your prediction in the comments. I read every single one, and the best insights might become topics for future videos. If this story made you think differently about the companies you admire or the career you are building, hit that subscribe button. I tell these stories because the past is the best predictor of the future, and understanding what went wrong helps us do better next time. And if you want to understand another empire that fell because of its own blind spots, stick around. Because next time we are diving into Blockbuster, the company that laughed Netflix out of the room and lived to regret it. Until then, stay curious, stay adaptable. And remember, the best time to change is before you have to.